Hey guys, Mark here from Reaper Airsoft. Today we are going to show you a breakdown and overall functionality of the new G36 gearbox. It's in the HK G36 line from Aries. This line is done for Elite Force. This is a new generation of gearbox, and I'm hoping I can point out some of the features and some of the benefits of this new style today. First thing you're going to notice right off the bat, it is a version 3 gearbox, and on the outside of this version 3 gearbox for the G36s, we do have a computer controlled circuit board. This is in fact a MOSFET controlled board here. It's not going to fry your trigger contacts. In fact, you don't have a normal trigger setup inside anymore. If you notice, as I pull the trigger itself pushes on a micro switch. Your micro switch replaces the standard D-plug trigger contacts that are in the normal gearboxes. So no more with the trigger contacts frying, no more replacing them, no more having to tweak them, no more of them wearing out. This one simple micro switch controls it all. Safety wise, your safety is a mechanical safety. With the safety in place, it just won't let the trigger be pulled at all. Good feature. What I've noticed with mine, because I do have a model of the G36, I have one of the prototypes, that this is a protection controlled circuit too, and I'd like to show you that here a little bit later. But if your gearbox locks up, as if on mine when we tested it, if it locks up at all, the computer actually cuts the power from the gearbox, so you can no longer pull the trigger and ruin your wire. And as you know, if it's locked up and you keep pulling the trigger, not only will you fry your wire set, you can fry your battery, you can burn your motor out, you can just damage everything internally, and just it's a big pain in the butt to replace. So we're going to go over a couple of features here. These two little black squares right here, these are magnetic sensors. On a G36 prototype itself, the selector switch has a magnet in it, a nice high powered magnet. When you switch it into semi-auto, it senses it's in semi-auto. When you switch it into 2-round burst, it senses it's in 2-round burst. So you no longer have the slop as a selector switch. When you click it into what it's supposed to be in, it's there. It's not going to wobble, it's not going to walk itself out, it's not going to loosen up and just slip. It's magnetically censored and controlled by the computer itself. With that being said, since it's all controlled here, you no longer have a cutoff lever inside. We'll get to that and show you that, so you won't have cutoff lever wear. Let's go over some of the external features of this gearbox. As you can tell, we have 8mm bushings on the sector and the spur gear, 8mm bearing set on the bevel gear. I like the bearing set on a bevel gear. I wish everything all the way around was a bearing set, but at this point, beggars can't be choosers. Since it is an Aries box, we do have a quick chain spring system. Makes it real easy, especially on a G36 series. You can get to it right from the back. You don't have to pull anything out of the gun. You know, you can swap it out. I want to say mine right from the factory, my prototype right from the factory, was about 410 feet per second with a 2.0. It was pretty consistent. You know, I didn't need to swap out the spring or anything. I was happy with the feet per second. We also have a mechanical blowback system. Not my favorite type of blowback. I definitely a step up over the pneumatics, just for the simple fact that we can remove the back screw here and disable it completely. We don't have to worry about it. What happens is the piston pushes the blowback function back. This piece right here, this slide piece right here, actually pulls the cocking arm back. There's a spring in the cocking arm that when a piston resets to the 0 position, this slides forward because of the spring in the cocking arm. It's what gives you your blowback feature. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of blowback, but it is disableable, so you don't have to worry about it. It makes it pretty simple and easy. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull the motor out here, and hopefully what this will show you is that when we pull the motor off, it will not spin the gear set. If it's not spinning the gear set, the magnetic sensors inside will think that it's locked up, that it shouldn't turn. And what it should do is it should end up cutting power from the gearbox in order to protect the gearbox so you don't burn anything out, you don't damage anything. Today I'm going to use a Raptor's Airsoft 7.4 volt 1200 milliamp 20C LiPo. In my G36, I find it gives me the perfect rate of fire. I don't have any complaints about them. We do stock these at Reaper. They are 20 bucks. If you want one, stop by, check them out. Raptors also gives you a 1-year manufacturer warranty against defects on that battery. So as you can see, I pulled the motor out. Let's give the trigger a pull. We have nothing. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my connectors. Nothing at all. There we go. There it is. My connectors are a little loose on my battery. I use my batteries a lot, but as you notice, no longer am I getting anything off the trigger pull. Let me disconnect the battery. Hook the battery back up. Make sure it's together this time. That way I don't look like a jackass. Once again, it stops. It senses that the gear set inside are not moving. The sector gear in this model will have a magnet on it, and there's a sensor on the inside of this chip that says, hey, you know, we got power going, the gear set's not spinning though, something is wrong. So it shuts down and protects itself. It's a very nice feature. I absolutely love this feature because it keeps people from breaking their guns when there's a serious issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this battery, and we're going to break down this gun a little bit further. We're going to take it all apart. I'm going to show you what's inside of it. And we're going to go over the insides of how they did it. Like I said, we're missing a couple things inside. They removed a bunch of stuff. So we should see some things, you know, most people haven't noticed in a gearbox before. Like I said, it is a quick chain spring system. Grab a flathead. So all you need to do is take a flathead to the back, unscrew the retaining screw. Once that's out, we'll set that aside. Grab my T-handle. It looks like a number 6 from Craftsman. As you can see, my T-handles are a bit beat, but I used the crap out of them. Pull the spring out. Spring's out of the way. You know, it's easy to put it back in and let it go, you know, just to get your spring changes. So I'm going to continue to pull the gearbox apart. Like I said, just because the spring's out, it is the quick change spring system. It makes it easy to do work on your gearbox yourself. I prefer the systems. The only complaint I do have about them is I wish they had reinforced spring guides, because I've had these little arms, these little lock-in nuts, I guess you can say, the little arms that lock that in place. I've had them break on me before. So it does limit the size of the spring you can put in there, and it does limit, you know, over time wear and tear. Something needs to break, and eventually that's one of the breaking points. So I am hoping I can get Elite Force to talk Aries into making a beefier, or even one that's just not hot metal. At this point, I think I would be happy with. Gonna do a little bit more there. Should be good now. Pop that out. And like I said, this screw back here is the screw that actually keeps the blowback feature in place. It has a little washer, I guess you can call it, the main screw for it. And when you disable them, you can slide the blowback feature straight out of the back of the gun. You can disable it. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. And it does not void the warranty. We can do it in shop for you, no issues, no complaints. It's actually pretty quick and easy. We can do it without taking the gearbox out of the gun. Alright, so let's pop this open. Let's see if we can get it apart here. Alright, so we got everything apart. We're going to set this aside for now. We're going to look at the gear set. We're going to look at the piston assembly and everything else. Standard gear set. It looks like an 18-1. You know, nothing special. The anti-reversal latch, the bevel gear looks good shape. This is the first time I've ever taken this box apart. It has been used. They have tested it. This was a prototype function. So we'll see. You know, polycarbonate piston, full metal tooth rack, good rack. It looks like they have the second tooth to the pickup tooth shaved down just to help with meshing. Polycarbonate piston head, and it is a ball bearing head. It's not a true bearing head, but it does have the plastic spacer in there that will turn and give you a little bit of a swivel. Tappet plate, it looks like it's radius just a tiny bit. You know, it looks like it should hold up a lot better than their CQB models and their CQC models did. They were notorious for snapping. I know Aries did remedy them. Elite Force did have them remake them, made them stronger. Standard air seal nozzle, I'm not seeing an O-ring in there. It does feel tight on a cylinder head though, so I'm assuming there's not too much of an air leak. Standard cylinder head for version 3 cylinder, ventless cylinder. Little bit, no, we got pretty good compression there. It probably needs re-greased, re-cleaned. Nothing major there, just standard stuff. tappet plate spring, as you can see, it is stuck. There's the magnet on a sector gear. Let me grab the screwdriver and show you. Right under the gear delay, right under the sector chip, there is a high strength neodymium magnet right there, and as you can see, it holds on to the screwdriver. It's high strength, guys. I mean, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of force there. What this does is on the back side of this side of the gearbox here, you'll notice right here, there's a sensor. Every time your sector gear goes around, every time your sector gear completes one rotation, it goes boom. It hits that sensor and it trips that sensor and says, hey, cycle's complete, cut it off. If you're in 2-round burst, hey, cycle's complete, that's the second one, cut it off. Like I said, I do believe these gearboxes will be programmable. They should be. It's based off of Aries' other line. I don't see why they wouldn't be. But if they're not, there's a heck of a lot of computer circuitry that they put into this gearbox for it not to be programmable. So I have a feeling that they are. As I said, we do have 8mm bearing set on the bevel gear. The motor wise, what do we have? It looks like we got a D pinion gear, D style pinion gear. And here's the big improvement, guys. Let me get the trigger out of the way. No cutoff lever. There is no wear and tear. You should never ever lose semi-automatic function in this rifle. You should never lose 2-round burst. It is not a mechanical 2-round burst. It is an electronic 2-round burst. It is a MOSFET 2-round burst. So we should never ever have to replace any of those parts that actually, you know, wear out. On mine, I did some experimenting. I put a 32-to-1 helical gear set in mine. I ordered some of the magnets to set in and replaced them through the 32-to-1 in mine, and it worked. So it looks like I am hoping what will happen is I'm hoping Elite Force will make these magnets readily available, or at least have replacement gear sets, because if you do happen to strip this gear set, you cannot take a gear set that doesn't have one of these magnets in there and put it in. The gun will not function. It will automatically shut itself down because it's assuming the gear set itself is not turning and the gearbox is locked up. Overall build of the gearbox shell, it's a beefy shell. As you can see, it should handle most of your options, most of your upgrade options. You should be able to do a 32-to-1 or a 13-to-1 gear set in there if you want to. As long as you have the magnet in there on the gear set to trip that sensor, you should be good. Gear set wise, your issues are going to come down to what you can fit the magnets in the holes. There is a couple stores online that do sell magnets individually. You can have them measured, and I guess you could probably have them fitted for the gear set you want, but there's no guarantee of matching. I ended up going out and researching mine myself just to get the magnets, throw them in other gear sets, and so far the ones I ordered are not compatible in every gear set out there, so you do have to watch. Everything else seems standard, everything else seems solid. Lot less moving parts, which means a lot less breakdown. I do like the fact that they use the 14 steel tooth pistons in there. That's less wear and tear on the polycarbonate pistons. You know, overall, good build, good design. I do, like I said, cycle mine with a 7.4 volt LiPo. Even with the blowback feature, for me, it's at the perfect rate of fire. 2-round burst. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Full auto. It's perfect. It feeds flawlessly. I just enjoy the gun overall. Like I said, I will have this gearbox on display for you tech heads out there who want to see the newest generation of gearboxes and sort of get a, you know, first peek at them, see what it's like before you get one or before you order one, because I know Aries is making versions of these for M4s. They do make a programmable controller for these that you literally plug into the small Tamiya and program it. So I am hoping we should see more of this style gearbox in the future. I definitely love the big improvement. I definitely like not having to go in and solder MOSFETs in there. I'm hoping I can talk Elite Force into having the rest of their Aries line, the Tavors, and all the other ones that Aries make, implement this into their gearboxes. The UMPs would be a great next step, especially their Elite model. I'm going to push for that, as I always do. I'm always pushing them to make their products better. And we butt heads over it just because they're running a business and they got to keep costs down, so you guys will buy the guns. If the guns are not affordable, you guys are not going to buy them. But I like having upgraded guns right from the box. That way you guys know you're getting something good for your money. Like I said, the gun will be on display, the gearbox will be on display. If you want, please stop by Reaper, check it out. As always, Reaper is the only one with this prototype gearbox and gun in stock right now from Elite Force. It is our specific prototype just for display purposes. Please stop by and check it out. You guys won't be disappointed. Have a good day. As always, call your hits, like, comment, and subscribe.